Athennian is excited to announce some new functionality we have made available in charts. This is going to be live in the private markets edition of Athennian at the end of the month. However, for the general clients that we serve and the general Athennian product, it will be available soon as well. So keep your eyes out for that. Now, when we head into our fund here in the private markets edition, we have some entities mapped to various categories. Here we have placed River Comms and Cyclo Solutions in the Fund Entities tab, meaning they are funds within this fund structure. Again, terminology here, some customers use fund as an overall to dictate the structure or the group of all the entities, and some also have separate to that individual fund entities. Now, we're going to be looking at this from a structure perspective, and so we are in a large investment fund. Within that fund, you have various entities playing certain roles. Here we have our general partner entities. We also have some holding entities or holding companies. We have limited partnerships as well at different capacities. So here you have a not-for-profit and an insurance company. And then we have room for our documents. Now, what is powerful with this feature is when we click on the structure chart button, it is going to bypass the general rules and standards for creating our charts in the application, and it's going to create them instead of based on ownership connections, based on those purposes within the fund. Now, this is going to extend across the application to different types of customers and different types of markets. Imagine the power in that you generate a chart and you can expand additional entities or records like assets or special purpose vehicles. Perhaps you have one topco that you need to surface or a business license. All of that will be possible with this grouping structure. Now, here within the fund, we have our LPs, GPs, fund entities, and portco entities, all represented in the right positions within this chart. I'm going to quickly make some adjustments. I want the size of my nodes to be the same, just to make it look nice and clean. So I've set a width and height. I'm going to lock this chart or always optimize it by choice, depending on what I need. Today, I'll keep it by the default layout, meaning it's going to adjust and shift as it extends more records. Now, once I've set that in place, a couple things I want to touch on is you will notice in the legend, you now have new sections or categories. This is where we dictate where things are placed. I can decide what I want to show or hide. And so if I only wanted to display my fund, GP, or LP entities, in this case, I can go in and control that from this point. Now, in addition to that, it's going to surface here within the legend as well once things are complete. I want to also show you the power of the additional grouping that we've added. You'll notice here that there are small icons at the base of these entity records. This means that there is more connected to the record than just what is mapped in the fund. So again, we have leveled the sections out by their purpose within the fund, but we have bypassed ownership connections. If, however, you want to start surfacing additional connections that may not be represented in those funds, you can do that by expanding on the entities. Clicking on River Comms here, you will notice immediately I have created a new undefined category group because I have, again, extended some connections that are not mapped to the fund, so they don't have a purpose that they're living in. They actually don't belong to this fund. But I do want to surface, for example, the export securities entity because it might perhaps be an SPV entity that I need to surface, or an asset, or a license that's important to the nature of this fund and its operation. Now I can go in and continue with those extensions. I can surface people as well. And you'll notice as I move and navigate the entities within this grouping, I am creating a more defined category here with the different representations that I need surfaced. Now, what's powerful here is you are still able to generate those connection lines. If I wanted to, for example, represent Donald Crewman as a connection to this Cyclo Solutions group here in this bucket, I can generate a line dictating that specific connection and then add in a text box to make it clear what that connection represents. So I could perhaps put in here, and this can depend on, again, the type of affiliation you're adding in. I could put in here asset holder, for example, or perhaps you wanted to surface deal entities or deal holders as well, if that's relevant to the way you funnel up funds into the fund entities from the portcos and the holdings. And you are able to customize this as you see fit. In addition to that, as you continue to expand things, you will see them map to, again, this grouping here, which is really powerful. And those links maintain. If I needed to adjust them again, I could, and I could simply move that line to a different placement, or I could move it to the group group as a whole, making it clear that that as an undefined category is represented in some way or manner. And as I then navigate back to the legend, you will notice here I have a new undefined category that I can then go in and customize. If I wanted to remove all of the strokes around the specific grouping here, I can. So I can make that a completely free floating group without any border. In the same breath, I can go in and add a background if I needed to, a fill, and we will continue to update this to make it more customizable for your team. But this is going to give you phenomenal flexibility when it comes to mapping out how your connections lay out on your charts across all of your different entities and records. It's going to give you freedom in the sense that you no longer need to be confined to ownership only in order to map out certain things. And you can also adjust your charts to customize the layout to your preferences. Again, this is available in the private markets edition. It will be available to our regular customer base soon. And as always, if you have any feedback, please do let us know.